Do you see how confusing this is? You have college and university, where in the US, college is university. And in Australia, you don't really have a college. Does any of that make any sense? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette and I moved to the UK in 2019 and I'm documenting my experiences of assimilating into British culture. I wanted to make a video today because there's something about British culture and I was waiting to see if I could do this as like a collab with someone. However, you know, social distancing's a thing now. It's a lot harder to like meet up with someone. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a collaboration with you because who knows better than my audience, because I trust you guys. So my issue is I get very confused about the British school system. So what I want to do is I'm gonna make a video today explaining to you how I understand it. And then you guys can in the comments tell me how wrong I am. And then the thing is, by me explaining it will make it very clear where there is a gap in knowledge, you know? So if I'm like getting ages wrong, you can be like, oh, you've clearly, that's the problem. And I think that's an easier jumping off point and we can work from there. So hopefully this isn't gonna be a super long video. Hopefully it isn't gonna be completely wrong either. So I've made some notes because I do find the whole thing very confusing. So I will be looking at my notes. Sorry for looking down. I have the Australian school system and I kind of know the American school system, kind of. So that's my basis for knowledge. I'm just gonna start when you go to school. You're like 4 to 5, depending when you're born. I think the school year starts in September, which is common for like older societies, I guess, because it's like they had to use kids to harvest the summer and then they went in the winter or whatever. In Australia, I start the school year in February, and then I end in December. And then my Christmas break is my big break between years. So I thought that was interesting. 4 to 5, you start school and you go to kindergarten. Do you say kindy or do you say kindergarten or either? I've also seen people say that it's called reception, which sounds very formal. If you're fancy and want to pay and go to a private, that's the other thing, okay, before we even jump into this. Private school is when you don't pay and public school is when you do pay and it's more exclusive. And then there's a comprehensive, which is not paid for. But then there's grammar school, which is paid for. And then there's pre-prep school, which is paid for. Do you see how confusing this is? I'll tell you, in Australia, just so we know where I'm working from, because like I said, this is gonna be a learning opportunity. Don't come for me, I'm probably gonna be wrong, definitely gonna be wrong. In Australia, there's public school, which is publicly funded by the government. See how it makes sense? And you can have that from kindergarten up to your final year in year 12. Or you have private school, which is privately funded. And then that goes from kindergarten to year 12, depending on when you want to go. That's that simple. So all of these grammar schools, prep schools, private schools, comprehensive, public schools, I find it very confusing. So we'll see. So you start in kindergarten / reception at 4 to 5, and you can, if you want to go to like I'm just gonna say privately funded school, that's called pre-prep or prep school. Then when you're 5 to 6, so it goes kindergarten to year 1, this is the same as Australia, or like reception to year 1, same as Australia. And then the whole of like primary school, which is what we use as well. I think Americans would say elementary school, we say primary school as well. Primary school goes until you're 10 or 11, and that's when you're in year 6. Same, so far we're all on the same page. And so I'm like reading my notes and I'm still confused, and then my notes. I'm like, how did I? So yeah, so you got primary school from like 5 years old, basically up till 12 years old, or 11 or 12, 10 or 11, 11 or 12, depending. So that's the end of your primary school, and then you go into I would go into high school or secondary school. So you got primary and secondary, or high school, and so that's high school from like 12 years old on. UK from year 7, same as us. When you're 12 years old, same. I think you actually start technically a year younger because you actually go a year later, but it's the same age. So you start before we do, which is interesting. Because we start at 5 years old, but depends when you're born, I guess, isn't it? It's very confusing. Anyways, and then from year 7, so this is where it gets confusing, okay? So this is where I'm gonna need, honestly, the first half was confusing and that's not even the bit that I'm trying to figure out. So then you go from year 7 to year 11, and that's your high school or secondary school. And if you want to pay and go to a privately funded school, that's called grammar school, I think, or maybe that's if it's selective, or it can be prep school. Okay, I'm figuring this out. Or it could be called public school, and this is what's confusing. Okay, starting again. I'm going to try and explain it again. So this is what I mean. This is what you would have to put up with if there was someone here. High school, year 7 till 11, is called secondary school or high school. If you want to pay, you can go to prep school, prep or senior school, or you can be a public school. Or if you want to go to a selective school, it's grammar school. Yes? Okay, and that's that bit. But then we go on to this next bit that I'm not familiar with. So I need to pick someone's brain about like class selection. So I'm gonna jump back into this and explain what each level looks like at my school versus here. Then you have year 12 and year 13, which is college or sixth form. So in the UK, you have college and university, where in the US, college is university. And in Australia, you don't really have a college. It's like, if you want to go to like a specific like interior design college, you would do that, but mostly you just go to university. And that's called sixth form or grammar school, depending where you are. And that's when you do your A levels. Okay, that's where I am. So you can already go and fix the comments. Let's pretend it's a state school, just for the sake of consistency. So in primary school, we just do like, regular, lessons, languages, everything, and you don't really move. You stay in the same classroom. I'm sure this is the same. Once you get to high school, when you're in year 7 and 8, you don't pick any classes. It's decided for you. Then once you get to 9 and 10, you get to pick 2 classes. So like, what did I do? I think I did computers and I did drama. And then for our 11 and 12, which is our last years, you pick all your own lessons as long as they equal a credit. The only class you have to do is English. Everything else is up to you. So I, for example, did not do maths because I'm not good at maths and it would have pulled my average down. So it was a strategic decision. And then you get to pick all your other classes. So I did like economics, legal studies, advanced English, extension English, which is like extra. What else did I do? Community and family studies, very easy marks in that one. And I'm sure I did, and then I did like PDHPE, which is like sports science would be the easiest. So then I do those for my HSC. So we do a school, actually I think they've gotten rid of it, but we used to do a school certificate at the end of year 10 if you want to drop out. But then if you want to stay on, you stay on for year 11 and 12 and you pick your own classes, and then you sit your HSC, which is your final exam, which gives you a mark that sends you whether you go into college or not, or university or not. You normally have to put in I know there's different weightings, which I could totally get into because this topic is massive, but in theory you could, I think it's basically 40% of your mark is based off your final exam, and then you put in your preference for universities before you sit your final exam, and then you find out if you got in. Now, from my understanding in the UK, I have no idea on what class selection looks like. However, I think after year 11, you can drop out. So that's when you're 15, 16, which is when we're in year 10. So it's the same age. I think the UK starts a year earlier, so it's all shifted forward. Sorry, I'm sweating. It is hot. I shouldn't be filming on today. And then in college or sixth form, I think that's like our year 11 and 12, where like you get to pick your own classes and it's a bit more specific. And I'm not sure, I'd be interested to know if that affects whether you get into university or not. Does any of that make any sense? Oh, and then you have your GCSEs, which is like our school certificate. So it's like, if you want to leave, you can, but if not, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter because I was staying on for year 12 / sixth form for you guys. And then my HSC, so my final school exams, are your A levels. So I'd be interested to know A levels, is it like 50% of your mark is that exam, or do you do assignments throughout the year that make up more of it? I'm interested because I just like to make informed decisions. Also, I would love any clarity around this private prep grammar thing. It's so confusing to me beyond a doubt. So hopefully, if you're interested at all in this, I might, and in the future when the coronavirus isn't such a pressing issue, hopefully I'll be able to maybe we'll find a Brit in the country who's willing to sit down and be like, I'll tell you everything you want to know, because I find it very confusing. But please do enlighten me in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see a follow-up with a fellow Brit. Give it a thumbs up so I know that you liked it. And remember to hit subscribe, because then I can see you next time. Thank you so much for watching and putting up with all my ramblings and insane confusion. I've probably confused you more than before you started this video, so good luck and thanks for the help in the comments below.